I mean, I grew up with an expiration date, essentially.
That was Dustin Menken. Dustin was born with cystic fibrosis, a genetic disorder that has had a profound influence on his life. Throughout his life, he's managed to beat the odds. And when it came time to try to have a baby, the odds stayed stacked against him. But together, with his wife Tequila, they beat the odds again. I'm Dan Bulger with Progyny, and this is Infertility.
Hi guys, I'm Tequila Menken here in Asheville, North Carolina. My lovely husband, Dustin Menken. And we're wanting to send a very well-deserved thank you out to Progyny for helping us on this journey, because it has been a trek up the hill.
Yep, that's Dustin and Tequila. And despite their cheery disposition, they've been through a lot.
I was originally born in a small town in Illinois, and I was born with a failure to thrive diagnosis due to the cystic fibrosis. So the first 2 years of my life were pretty much spent in the hospital. Cystic fibrosis is basically an inherited terminal illness that affects both the lungs and the digestive system. It creates a very sticky fluid and mucus and lines all the lung walls and the intestines, which makes it really susceptible to bacterial infections in your lungs, also blockages in your intestines causing obvious problems. And I'm not able to get all the nutrients from the food that I need, so I have to take a litany of medications a day to kind of stay in working order, essentially. I mean, I grew up with an expiration date, essentially. Every few years, it's like, oh, your baby's going to make it to 2, or, and then I make it to 2, and then it's like, oh, well, maybe 5. Like, okay, well, here's 5. Well, maybe 10, it just kept stepping up and up and up. I never really thought about having kids, let alone living to 20, 30, 40 now.
About to be 40.
About 40 in a month. Yep, 40 tomorrow, a month for tomorrow. With CF, 98% of males are infertile because they do not have the plumbing that transports the seminal fluid, obviously. So I knew it was going to take some intervention just to have a kid of my own, not to mention, all the genetic testing that we had to do to make sure she wasn't a carrier and everything lined up. About 3 years ago, I saw the Progyny partnership with my employer, and I didn't know what the heck that was. So I was just like, okay, well, I'll go into my resource group and I'll see what I can figure out. And lo and behold, it's a fantastic benefit.
So the Progyny benefit from his employer opened up some options, and they were able to pursue IVF, which is the only option for them, as his condition meant he was not able to ejaculate sperm. Now, for anyone trying to conceive, it's recommended to do some genetic testing or carrier screening to check for any single gene disorders in either partner. For the Menkens, this was critical. Dustin doesn't only carry cystic fibrosis, he has it, so they knew that one. But it was important to find out if Tequila was a carrier as well. And if you're interested in the genetic side of all this, well, in 2 weeks, we're doing a Fertility 101 all about genetics, so stay tuned for that.
I had to do a lot of testing, obviously. I had to make sure that I didn't have the plumbing, and I don't. I'm one of the 98% that don't. So that obviously was number one. Number two, we did genetic testing.
Lots of
genetic testing. And we found out that our kid probably won't have any issues at all, so that's great. So we were like, okay, there's number 2, and let's get her on the insurance. That was 3.
What's the timeline now?
And then the timeline was like, okay, well, we're going to start at the beginning of the year. And that was last year.
All right, so the primary cause of infertility was that the tube that would transport seminal fluid wasn't present, which meant they couldn't access sperm through ejaculation. So they had to aspirate sperm, which involves using a needle to collect sperm. When this is done, doctors always recommend the couple also have a donor sperm available, just in case they find that the sperm is not viable.
Originally, we took a donor just because you have to have a donor on standby just in case what you produce isn't viable, obviously. But yeah, we did aspirate from me, and then that wasn't all that bad, I guess. I mean, I was laid up for maybe 2 or 3 days. It's nothing major.
And that's where everything kind of shifts over to tequila.
Getting in there, having to do the actual shots, the different medication, having a schedule that has to be so precise. I mean, we had 2 rounds, and the first one was a failure. And just knowing that we went through that first round, thank goodness they had enough product from Dustin. But I had to do 2 rounds of egg retrievals. And it was just like, oh God, here's that full feeling again for the next few weeks. I mean, and they have to wait on your cycle and make sure every week I was in the fertility clinic at least once or twice a week, drawing blood.
The first egg retrieval resulted in a good number of eggs, but after fertilization, they only had a few embryos, and then those didn't result in pregnancy. So they geared up for a second IVF cycle.
And we put mine and the donors together a second time. We had one viable, perfect of mine and hers, and his, the donors. And we decided to implant the one from me because, I mean, if we're only going to have one, I'd rather it be mine, obviously.
That's kind of selfish.
Yeah, no selfishness at all,
It's just the waiting game after that, because you have to wait to go to the clinic for them to test every week or so to see if your levels are climbing. We didn't get that the last go around because they stopped and started to decline. But
it's rolling, and everything went well.
Yep. 2 rounds, and number 2 actually we're 25 weeks in. I feel very round. I still have 3 months to go. I'm going to get a little bit rounder. Yay. Yep. Bun in the oven. Hey.
The Menkens reached a goal that throughout Dustin's life, he truly never thought he'd reach. And they were only able to reach this goal because they had tremendous support.
Without Progyny, without TE's partnership with them, this doesn't happen. 0% chance.
When employers choose to partner with Progyny, they aren't just checking a box. They're offering life-changing support for people like the Menkens.
We've grown. We've gotten much closer. Much closer. I mean, you really realize how precious life is when you finally can experience everything that everybody else can experience. Just never really thought that I could experience a full life. I always thought, yeah, I'll have the house and the 2 cars and the yada yada, but I was never the child. I was never that last bingo space to black out my card or anything. I was like, I was always going to be one short. But hey, now I've got a baby on the way in 3 months. It's freaking fantastic. I'm happy. She's going to be spoiled, rotten, and I know she will.
Apparently, she's going to learn how to game before she walks, probably.
Yep. She's going to strap her to my chest and run around meleeing zombies all day, and she'll love it.
We recorded this interview in 2024 when Tequila was still pregnant. Well, some time has passed, and I'm thrilled to tell you that beautiful Jannie Bell Allena Menken has arrived. The Menken story is truly one of hope. Dustin has spent his entire life with some certainty that he would never become a father. But through managing cystic fibrosis, through his ever-strengthening relationship with his wife Tequila, And through support from his employer, through Progyny, he reached that goal and is now experiencing a life he never thought he'd see. I think the Menkens are an absolute inspiration. And I hope that if you're experiencing something difficult, maybe something like cystic fibrosis, but anything really, I hope that the Menken story can bring you hope as you reach for your own goals. I want to give a big thank you to Dustin and Tequila Menken for sharing their story with us today. And I want to thank you for listening. If you want to connect with us, you can do so on Instagram at This Is Infertility Podcast. If you want to follow Progyny, you can do that at Progyny Inc. Of course, if you're listening on a podcast app, please leave a rating and review. This Is Infertility is brought to you by Progyny. Please remember this podcast is not intended to substitute for the personalized expert advice of your physician. I'm Dan Bulger. This is Infertility.